Most people do not fail because they are weak. They fail because they listen to a voice they never trained to question. That voice says, "This is enough. This is too hard. Stop here." And because it sounds like them, they believe it. But that voice is not truth. It is habit. And whatever you practice, you become plungers. When you look closely, quitting is not a decision you make once. It is a pattern you repeat. It is a trained reflex. The body feels discomfort, the mind labels it as danger, and the system looks for the fastest exit. Over time, this becomes automatic. You do not even think about quitting. You feel it. And that is why so many people believe quitting is part of who they are. But it is not. It is part of what they have practiced. Endurance, on the other hand, is not something mystical. It is a skill, just like balance, just like focus, just like calm breathing under pressure. No one is born with unbreakable endurance. It is trained through repeated exposure to discomfort without escape. Each time you stay when your instinct says leave, you are not just enduring the moment. You are training your nervous system. You are teaching your body that pressure does not mean danger. You are teaching your mind that discomfort is not a command. It is information. This is where hidden power begins. Not in loud confidence, not in dramatic motivation, but in the quiet rewiring of how you respond to stress. Most people train their mind to run. The one who refuses to quit trains their mind to stay. They stay with the breath when it becomes heavy. They stay with the posture when the body shakes. They stay with the task when the mind becomes bored, restless, and irritated. And through this staying, something deeper changes. The mind loses its authority to dictate behavior. The mind is very convincing. It will give you logical reasons. It will say you are tired. It will say you deserve rest. It will say this is not the right time. But you must understand something clearly. The mind is designed for comfort, survival, not for growth. The mind is designed for comfort and survival, not for growth. If you obey it without training, it will always lead you back to what is familiar. Familiar feels safe. Safe feels good, but safe does not build strength. Trot. Strength is built when you remain present in what is uncomfortable without creating a story to escape it. You breathe. You relax unnecessary tension. You adjust what can be adjusted, and then you stay. One more breath. One more repetition, one more minute of presence. This is how endurance becomes skill. It is not heroic. It is precise. It is patient. It is structured. At first, it will feel like you are forcing yourself. But over time, something shifts. The discomfort remains, but the panic disappears. The pressure remains, but the resistance softens. You begin to realize that most of what you called suffering was actually resistance to sensation, not the sensation itself. When you stop fighting the feeling, you gain access to energy that was previously wasted in escape. Being. This is why those who refuse to quit appear calm in situations that overwhelm others. They are not feeling less. They are resisting less. They have trained your system to stay regulated under stress. Their breath stays deeper. Their posture stays aligned, their attention stays present. While others are negotiating with their discomfort, they are working with it. Leans. Every time you quit early, you strengthen the habit of escape. Every time you stay a little longer, you weaken that habit. You are not just building endurance for this task. You are shaping your identity. You are becoming someone who does not collapse internally when things become difficult. You are becoming someone who can remain steady while pressure is present. And this is the hidden power of those who refuse to quit. They are not loud about it. They do not need to prove it. They have trained their nervous system, their breath, and their attention to stay. While others look for relief, they look for regulation. While others look for comfort, they look for capacity. Over time, this creates a person who is not easily shaken. Not because life is easy, but because they have trained to remain when it is not. While others look for relief, they look for regulation. While others look for comfort, they look for capacity. Over time, this creates a person who is not easily shaken. Not because life is easy, but because they have trained to remain when it is not. Dobland. Well, you must understand something very important about the mind. The first message you receive in difficulty is rarely truth. It is protection. The mind's primary function is to conserve energy and avoid threat. It does not care about your long-term strength. It cares about short-term safety. So when pressure rises, the mind speaks quickly. It says, stop. It says, enough. It says, this is too much. And because it speaks in your own voice, you mistake it for wisdom. But this voice has not analyzed the situation deeply. It has only reacted. It feels intensity and labels it as danger. It feels fatigue and labels it as limit. But fatigue is not a limit. It is a signal. Discomfort is not a command. It is a sensation job. The mind lies first because it is designed to reduce stress, not to reveal your true capacity. Damned. Discipline is what tells the truth. Discipline is not emotional. Discipline does not argue. Discipline observes, adjusts, and continues. It asks different questions, not how do I stop this, but how do I stay regulated inside this? Not how do I escape, but how do I refine my response? This is a completely different relationship with difficulty. When you train discipline, you stop treating every uncomfortable signal as an emergency. You slow your breath. You feel your posture. You relax what does not need to be tense. And then you check what is actually happening. Are you truly in danger, or are you simply uncomfortable? Most of the time, you will see clearly that you are not breaking. You are adapting. And adaptation feels uncomfortable. The mind does not like adaptation. It prefers familiar patterns. That is why it will try to negotiate with you. It will offer excuses that sound reasonable. You can do this tomorrow. You've already done enough. Rest now, push later. These thoughts are not evil. They are natural. But if you follow them automatically, you hand control of your life to a comfort-based system. Bonds those who refuse to quit train a different authority inside themselves. They do not silence the mind. They put it in its proper role. The mind becomes an advisor, not a commander. It gives information, but it does not give orders. The body may be tired. The mind may complain. But discipline decides this is where true confidence is built. Not from success, not from praise, but from repeated proof to yourself that you can continue even when the mind says stop. No. Each time you do this, you weaken the power of that first lying voice. You show yourself through action that the mind's early warning is often premature. Over time, this creates inner authority. And inner authority changes everything. You stop being a person who is pushed around by mood, energy, and emotion. You become a person who acts based on principle. You show up even when motivation is low. You stay even when the mind is noisy. You continue even when progress is slow. This is not force. This is alignment. The hidden power of those who refuse to quit is not stubbornness. It is clarity. They know that the mind will speak early and speak loud. But they also know that the mind does not know their true limit. So they do not obey the first signal. They breathe, they adjust, and they continue, not blindly, consciously, with awareness, with structure, and slowly something changes. The mind becomes quieter, not because the work is easier, but because it has learned that its early alarms are no longer in charge. Discipline has taken the lead, and when discipline leads, the truth about your capacity is finally revealed. And when discipline leads, the truth about your capacity is finally revealed. Then pressure enters, and most people misunderstand its role. They believe pressure is the enemy. They believe pressure is what breaks them. But pressure does not destroy you. Pressure exposes you. It reveals the structure you have built inside. It shows you where you are stable and where you are leaking energy. It is not a punishment. It is a mirror. When pressure arrives, everything unnecessary falls away. Your excuses become louder. Your habits become clearer. Your weaknesses become visible. This is not because pressure is cruel. It is because pressure is honest. In comfort, you can hide. In routine, you can pretend. But under pressure, there is no hiding. The way you breathe, the way you think, the way you react, all of it comes to the surface. This is why those who refuse to quit do not run from pressure. They study it. They observe how their shoulders tighten. They notice how their breath becomes shallow. They feel how their thoughts become rushed and dramatic. And instead of panicking, they use this information. Pressure becomes a teacher. It shows them exactly where to refine. Most people waste energy fighting pressure. They complain about it, they resist it, they wish it would go away. But resistance multiplies stress. When you fight pressure, you add psychological tension on top of physical or situational tension. This double load is what makes people collapse. Not the pressure itself, but their relationship to it. Those who endure train a different relationship. They allow pressure to be present without making it personal. They do not say, "This is happening to me." They say, "This is happening and I will respond." This small shift changes everything. It moves you from victim to participant, from emotional reaction to conscious action. Tremendous pressure also reveals your preparation. If your breath control is weak, pressure will show it. If your focus is scattered, pressure will show it. If your posture is unstable, pressure will show it. This is not failure. This is feedback. Pressure does not judge you. It gives you data. And those who refuse to quit use this data to rebuild stronger. Over time, something powerful happens. You stop fearing pressure because you understand its function. You realize that pressure is how capacity is expanded. Muscles grow through resistance. Minds grow through stress. Nervous systems grow through controlled exposure. If you avoid pressure, you avoid growth. If you stay with pressure, you gain intelligence and strength. Strangers, this is why some people become calmer as life becomes harder. It is not because their problems are smaller. It is because their system is trained. They have been here before. They recognize the sensations. They recognize the thoughts. They recognize the urge to escape. And instead of being surprised, they are familiar. Familiarity reduces fear. Familiarity creates steadiness. And pressure also reveals who you are when comfort is removed. Are you reactive? Are you blaming? Are you collapsing internally? Or are you adjusting, breathing, and staying present? These moments shape identity. Each time you remain composed under pressure, you reinforce a self-image. I can stay here. I can handle this. I do not need to run. Malents, the hidden power of those who refuse to quit is not that they avoid pressure. It is that they have made peace with it. They see it as part of the path, not a sign they are on the wrong path. They understand that if life is pressing on them, it means something inside them is being shaped. So when pressure comes, they do not ask, why is this happening? They ask, what is this showing me? They do not waste energy wishing it away. They invest energy in responding better, breath by breath, decision by decision. This is how pressure becomes a forge instead of a fire. Not something that burns you, but something that strengthens your structure from the inside out. And this is why pressure, when met with discipline and presence, does not destroy. It reveals, and this is why pressure, when met with discipline and presence, does not destroy. It reveals, what it also reveals is something even deeper, who you are when no one is watching. Because the most important battles are not public. They happen in silence. They happen when there is no audience, no applause, no external pressure to perform. They happen in the moments where quitting would be easy, invisible, and socially acceptable. Conscious. This is where identity is truly built. Not in what you say you value, but in what you do when there is no reward for doing it. When you wake up tired and still show up. When you are bored and still stay focused. When progress is slow and still you continue. These moments do not look impressive from the outside. But inside, they are shaping the kind of person you are becoming. Bongjins. Every small choice a vote for an identity. When you stay, you are voting for being someone who finishes. When you leave early, you are voting for being someone who escapes. These votes are quiet, but they are powerful. Over time, they create a self-image. And once that self-image is formed, your behavior follows it automatically. ungeous. This is why discipline becomes easier for some people over time. It is not because life becomes easier. It is because their identity has changed. They no longer see themselves as someone who negotiates with discomfort. They see themselves as someone who stays. So staying feels natural. Quitting feels out of alignment. Most people try to change behavior without changing identity. They rely on motivation. They wait to feel ready. But identity is built through repetition, not emotion. You do not become disciplined because you feel disciplined. You feel disciplined because you have acted disciplined enough times that it becomes who you are. In the moments no one sees, there is no pressure to perform for others. There is only honesty. And honesty is uncomfortable because you cannot blame anyone else. You cannot hide behind circumstances. It is just you and your choice. Stay or leave, continue or stop. These moments shape your internal standard. Men, those who refuse to quit, have raised their internal standard. They do not need external motivation to push them. Their identity pulls them forward. They are loyal to the person they are becoming, even when it is inconvenient. They protect that identity through small acts of consistency. This is also why their strength looks quiet. There is no drama, no announcement, no need to prove. They know internally who they are. They have evidence. They have a history of staying when it would have been easy to leave. That history becomes confidence, not loud confidence, calm confidence, and that calm confidence is powerful because it is not based on hope. It is based on proof built in silence, proof built in silence, proof built when no one was watching, proof built when quitting would have cost nothing socially, but would have cost everything internally. Drine's engine. This is how identity becomes unbreakable, not through big speeches, not through big promises, but through small, invisible decisions made with consistency. This is where the hidden power of those who refuse to quit is truly forged. In the quiet, unseen moments where character is trained and identity is set. This is how identity becomes unbreakable, not through big speeches, not through big promises, but through small, invisible decisions made with consistency. This is where the hidden power of those who refuse to quit is truly forged. In the quiet, unseen moments where character is trained and identity is set, And now you see where it all comes together, not in intensity, not in emotional highs, but in silent consistency, the kind of consistency no one celebrates, the kind that does not feel heroic, the kind that looks ordinary from the outside, but is extraordinary in its effect over time. Most people overestimate what they can do in one burst and underestimate what they can become through daily structure. They wait for motivation to carry them, but motivation is unstable. It rises and falls. Consistency is stable. It does not depend on mood. It depends on decision. Silent consistency means you show up even when the energy is low. You train even when the excitement is gone. You continue even when progress is slow and invisible. You do not need proof that it is working. You trust the process because you are committed to becoming a certain kind of person. This is why the strongest people are often the least dramatic. They are not chasing inspiration. They are building rhythm. They have created a life where discipline is normal and quitting feels abnormal. Over time, this rhythm compounds. What once felt heavy becomes light. What once felt difficult becomes natural. Bent people will look at you one day and call you strong. They will say, you are lucky. You are lucky. They will say you have talent. But you will know the truth. It was not one big moment. It was 1,000 small moments where you stayed when you could have left. This is the hidden power. Not loud, not flashy, but reliable, built through breath by breath, day by day, decision by decision. This is how ordinary effort becomes extraordinary character. This is how refusing to quit becomes a way of being, not a thing you try to do. Stay with your path, stay with your training, stay with your standards, even when no one is watching. especially when no one is watching, because this is where true strength is built. Best wishes on your path of discipline, endurance, and inner mastery.